can't be beat, that's my Bahama land, yeah. Friends in every place, a smile on every face. Children at play, time with family today. Someone fill my plate, homemade bread, I can't wait. I can't get enough, I will always stay in touch with my Bahama land, yeah.
Rare Voice introduces Bahamaland, an unlimited nationwide calling plan for only $5 a month. So call home today and connect again with Bahamaland. Home never felt so close.
My Bahama land, yeah.
An elderly woman fighting for her life following a prison bus crash in Fox Hill. The National Security Minister defends crime statistics, the chilling story of a man stranded at sea. Those stories and a whole lot more coming up. I'm Monique Toot, and NB12 starts now. Topic news tonight, a review of how prisoners are transported to and from court on New Providence may be necessary following a frightening accident on Fox Hill Road this afternoon. Christina McNeil was there as traffic officers assessed the scene and launched an investigation into what caused that crash.
A civilian driver, police officers, and prisoners injured after two vehicles collided along Fox Hill Road this afternoon. However, traffic officials say it's still too early to determine if speed was a factor. A 77-year-old woman was thrown from her car today after a collision with a bus in the prison convoy. Shattered glass, burned rubber, and blood could be seen at the scene of the accident. The victim's son, 60-year-old Theodore Roll, said he didn't get a chance to speak with his mother after the accident, but he hopes she pulls through.
I hope she don't pass because June, July, I'm the eldest child, and the baby, he died and stuff, and then it'd be extra hard for me. She passed on, then we brother too, and they can't take that like that right now.
3 police officers and 8 prisoners accused of murder and armed robbery were in that convoy at the time of the accident. We understand the police officers were taken to hospital for treatment, while the prisoners were taken to the nearby Fox Hill police station for an assessment. The prison bus lay on its side as officers from the traffic division secured the scene to determine what led to the accident. This is not the first time the prison convoy has been involved in traffic accidents along Fox Hill Road. Area residents who did not want to appear on camera told our news team that they often see the bus carrying prisoners speeding through the streets. We asked Inspector Carlos Mitchell and Prison Superintendent Patrick Wright if they have received reports regarding the speed at which the bus traverses through town.
We have not yet received complaints of that nature that would cause a level of concern for the police department, and we're always looking at ways that we can safely transport persons in custody, ways that would be safe to members of the public and also to police officers that transport those individuals.
Not but speeding, we have dangerous inmates in our custody, and police does the escort. And so those bus they're traveling at a speed that is not in any harm to the public, because there's always an outrider out front clearing the way, make sure traffic is clear to get those persons to court on time.
Remand courts were constructed at Her Majesty's Prison in an effort to reduce the number of prisoners being transported to the courts on a daily basis. However, Wright says there are no court facilities at the prison for prisoners with cases in the Supreme Court. We asked if it was time for the matter to be reviewed.
The government mandate to have all courts, Supreme and Magistrate, heard from a teller view, but that is not on stream as yet. Not the Supreme Court. All magistrate courts are heard at Her Majesty's Prison. Well, that's an executive decision, not me from a managerial position. but we are a growing country, and I think that in time that will happen.
Our news team caught up with National Security Minister Dr. Bernard Nottage to find out if government would be reviewing the way prisoners are transported.
Whatever happened apparently has caused officers and others with injuries, and obviously that's not an event that we wish had happened. But I don't know what the details are, and so I'm unable to comment further on it at this time.
Back in 2011, a prison bus and police escort vehicle collided on Bernard Road, sending 2 prisoners and 1 guard to hospital with minor injuries. Reporting for NB12, I'm Christina McNeil.
National Security Minister Dr. Bernard Nottage and Commissioner of Police Ellison Greenslade are defending recently released crime statistics amid claims there are glaring disparities between the figures presented by police last month and Princess Margaret Hospital records. Greenslade told NB12 to say the figures are inaccurate is to say he is dishonest.
If you say it's doctored, anyone that says that, whether it's social media in that space, whether it's in the media, in your newspapers or on the television, and you make that statement, you are basically saying that your Commissioner of Police, Ellison Edroy Greenslade, let's not sugarcoat this, is dishonest. And I look you back in the faces and say, I'm insulted by that. You could not ask for a more honest Bahamian citizen.
The latest person to question the accuracy of crime figures presented by the Royal Bahamas Police Force is respected cardiovascular and thoracic surgeon Dr. Dwayne Sands, who sees firsthand the effects of violent crime daily. According to hospital records obtained by Dr. Sands, 278 shootings are on Princess Margaret Hospital's records for 2013. However, according to figures released by police in January, there were 197 shootings last year. Meantime, there were 104 rape cases last year, according to police statistics, but PMH records show 147 rape cases in 2013. Sands says if those numbers were slightly different, he could understand, but the gap is just too wide. National Security Minister Dr. Bernard Nottage today responded to that claim.
Well, Dr. Sands and those intent on disputing the police statistics. I have no reason to disbelieve the statistics that the police have required, have presented.
Nottage says while he cannot dispute figures made public by Sands, he accepts statistics provided by the police force.
The police are not in the business of fabricating their statistics. I would imagine that the police can only report those things that are reported to it or that they have been contacted about.
Sands also questioned police claims that there was a decrease in attempted murders in 2013, when PMH records show 241 stabbings last year. Police did not provide figures for stabbings. When asked if hospitals are required to contact police when victims of violent crimes come in, Nottage said he doesn't know.
I would imagine that it would be the policy of the hospital to ensure that if anyone comes in with injuries that they suspect may have been criminally inflicted, that they would report the matter to the police.
As the question of leadership arises from observers outside the Free National Movement, one voice from within the party says he may throw his hat into the ring. Appearing on Guardian Radio talk show Jeffrey on Wednesday, FNM Deputy Chairman Dr. Dwayne Sands said he is considering challenging FNM leader Dr. Hubert Minnis at the party's next convention.
Let's just say, Mr. Lloyd, that I'm definitely considering it. I haven't made a final decision. There are conflicts that pull me in other directions.
Sands says he feels compelled to play an active role in forming the solution to this country's challenges. As the debate begins on who will lead the Progressive Liberal Party and FNM into the next general election, some people have suggested that former Prime Minister Hewitt Ingram would return to frontline politics. However, Sands says he doubts it.
I am sure that there are constituencies that feel that Mr. Ingram ought to be called back, even though I believe that he is sincere when he says that he is retired. But he has now earned his retirement. It would be a sad day if none of us could rise to the occasion and carry on the baton that he has passed to us.
Dr. Minnis said he's unmoved by those rumors, insisting he's focused on the future of the Bahamas.
I don't listen to rumors. I'm more focused on delivering and focused on action. We are plagued with lots of diseases within this country in terms of disease of unemployment, disease of individuals losing their homes, multiple problems, disease of criminality, the plague with crime. These are issues that concerns me. So I'm more focused on dealing with the issues. I'm more focused with improving the Bahamas, having a better Bahamas. We'll be plowing ahead, preparing ourselves for elections so that whenever the election is called, we're ready. We're ready, prepared to take over the government and empower our young people and create opportunities for our young people and deal with the issues that we have at hand.
3 men managed to survive after being lost at sea following a diving expedition gone terribly wrong. Despite being trailed by sharks, swimming through rough waters, and a thunderstorm for 27 hours, the men defied the odds. Jasmine Bonamy has a story of one man's determination to stay alive as he drifted at sea.
Each day, scores of fishermen are lured into the sparkling turquoise waters of the Atlantic, and that appeal is no different for 48-year-old Keith Johnson. However, what was supposed to be a routine diving trip off the Exuma chain turned into a 24-hour fight for survival for Johnson and 2 other men over the weekend. 4 days later, Johnson sat down with us in his living room the morning after he was released from hospital. Johnson was being treated for hypothermia and severe dehydration. Johnson is one of 2 men who swam for nearly 27 hours in shark-infested waters after they became separated from a fishing boat they were traveling in on Saturday.
Faith could move mountain, faith move desert. Faith. Be a brother's keeper. In all of this, I said, it ain't about me shining. It's Christ shining through me.
The father of 3 said he set out on a fishing trip early that morning with his friend Silbert Evans and another man he knows only as John. He said when they got about 31 miles off the coast of New Providence, he and John began to dive. He said Evans stayed on the boat after they decided against dropping the anchor. But what seemed like a normal dive would soon take a turn for the worst. Johnson said when he and John surfaced from their dive a short time later, he realized the 21-foot boat was drifting and quickly moving farther out to sea as they tried to flag down their friend, who he says was not an experienced seaman and did not know how to steer the boat. Their desperate attempts were unsuccessful as they watched the boat drift into the distance. Johnson says there was no way to call for help as everyone had left their cell phones back in Nassau.
We have a GPS on board. We leave a radio home. I leave my phone in the truck.
Johnson says while his fellow diver panicked, he began to pray and asked God to help them find their way home. It was then he decided that their best chance would be to swim toward a small key that he saw in the distance. However, he said the current proved too hard to overcome. That's when they decided on Plan B, which was to swim with the current back to New Providence. But midway through their journey, he says he noticed 2 sharks began to circle them, and that's when he says he used his sling and spear to frighten the sea predators. Growing wearier with each passing minute, Johnson said by 4 a.m. they noticed lights in the distance and realized they were just miles away from New Providence. By daybreak, he says they had reached Yamacross shores, and although it was a short distance away, he had lost all feelings in his legs. Tired, weak, and hungry, he said he prayed to make it to shore. At that point, Johnson says he and John, who had been clutching each other, decided to separate and swim ashore. Johnson says when he looked back, he had lost sight of his friend. But by some miracle, Johnson said he was able to make it ashore, where a couple who called police assisted him. Rescuers found John sometime later, and a mailboat operator picked up Evans, according to Johnson. Looking back, he says the trip taught him many lessons. He says his story should be a warning for all fishermen.
The first thing is a contingency plan. Don't leave here without a contingency plan. Know what you're going to do in any time of trouble. Know what to do. Familiarize yourself with the equipment you have.
As Johnson reflected on his story of survival, he said the events changed his life, especially considering he lost a brother in 2009 under similar circumstances. Johnson's brother Gregory went missing at sea in December 2009, along with former athlete Stephen Ray. NB12 was there days after the men went missing and interviewed Ray's family. Johnson says the loss of both men still haunts the families. Reporting for NB12, I'm Jasmine Bonamy.